Points of Articulation.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the 3 Points of Articulation. This week we are covering idle hands and unnecessary accessories, which is easy for me to say. Joined this week by my usual guest slash host slash friends. We've got Adam the Wrestling Man, Bada Boom the Realist Guy on Zoom. How are you doing?
I'm okay, brother.
And also JF, Jonathan Fenton.
Yeah, I've pretty much clad myself completely in stone cold, so feeling good. Oh, hell yeah.
Well, it is November, so outside is relatively cold, so we'll let you off with that one. On there.
I'm not that.
No, I can imagine not. First up, we have News World Order.
News.
Welcome to News World Order. We're going to cover all the latest news since the last episode of the podcast. And Johnny, do you want to kickstart us off with some lovely news?
Well, we've had a lot of reveals over the last couple of weeks, but I'll start off with something that was more of a Q&A question. This one was to Steve from Mattel, who seems to be the only guy who's maybe been a bit more customer friendly. Bill kind of has maybe gone into the depths of the dark of the internet and not commenting anymore. So he got asked if the gobbledygooker was possible. And his answer surprised me. He said, until they have the rights to Hector Guerrero, they can't do the gobbledygooker. I feel that is very strange because I wouldn't have thought they need the rights to a character that the WWE invented themselves. And Hector's likeness is not really covered at all within that figure. I thought it was a strange one. I thought it was worth mentioning.
Yeah, that's a very... I mean, I guess it's in the same ballpark as the Owen Hart Blue Blazer situation. But, I mean, it's a different... Same ballpark, different part of the field, I think, isn't it? Because obviously he's in a full-on costume. It's not showing any part of his body. So,
yeah.
Very strange.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of another example. Obviously, Blue Blaze is a good one there. I can only really think of like... Say that again.
Doink the Clown. I'm not sure if they got the likeness to Matt Bourne to make the Doink the Clowns because, you know, you could just dress up anyone in that.
Mm.
So it's the same sort of situation.
Yeah,
that's yeah, surprising. I don't think we've got any answers to that one.
Nope.
We'll have to wait and see, won't we? I mean, it's not an in-demand figure, is it? I mean, it's one of the worst moments in wrestling history, if I remember rightly. But
it's high in demand amongst collectors. A lot of people would want that. I think it's the sort of thing you'd release at the San Diego Comic-Con. Collectors will love it.
Yeah, imagine the box would be a big egg. And
yeah.
Look
yeah.
You mean Gene? Adam, first bit of news to follow up.
Yeah, it's actually following up from last week. I spoke about the Boss Fight Studio releases of the Luchas last week. There's been another reveal of who will be in Wave 2 of the basic kind of figures of those. Couple that I haven't heard of here. There's a Taurus, and let me pronounce this right, Hio del Perro Aguayo, something like that, who I'm not familiar with. But the two names that you will be familiar with that are going to be released are Vampiro.
Yeah.
Obviously quite famous in WCW and in Mexico, and Ultimo Dragon is the other one that's for release in the basic lineup. What do we think of those four before I move on to the premium line?
Amazing characters. I love WCW back in the 90s and early 2000s before it shut. So Vampiro I was a big fan of, and probably even more so Ultimo Dragon. What a toy. What a toy that's going to make.
Remember, I think Ultimate Dragon's 2003 run, I thought it was going to be like the next big guy. I think he had a really good finisher in Brightly as well. I used to use it on Here Comes the Pain on the PS2. So yeah, I think it was really, really good. And then just never really went anywhere with him, did they? I think he lost.
No.
I think it might have been a kind of homesick type of job on that one, or not really being used other than in the cruiserweight division. of which we see a lot of big stars come in and leave because of. But there's so many different choices with the attire that they could do for him. Obviously, we've had a couple of Jax ones in silver and red, I think. But it'd be really interesting on where they go with that. But it is the basic lineup for that one. There's been no pictures released yet. The premium lineup has been released, and there's only really one that I know of. I think I've heard of another one, but the 4 are Lady Maraville, Tinabulus Jr., Laredo Kid, who I think I've heard of. I think he might have made a couple of appearances. And most importantly for me, Conan.
Oh.
Yeah.
Premium lineup.
1 out of 4 for me. I've only ever heard of Conan, and again, WCW, right up my alley. I possibly will be looking into getting that one.
I think they all sound like they're on the 330 at Chepstow by the sounds of them. Quite a lot of them. Yeah, so Conan obviously I've heard of. It was quite a prominent name in WCW, wasn't he? In the LWO and I think the Wolfpack as well. So yeah, quite interesting to see. Once again, I think he's got a cult following, same as Vampiro, quite a good following in the Mexican side of things. So the toy will sell well, which is obviously good to hear, which means that they'll more likely release more of the series.
Yeah. Conan is absolutely huge in Mexico. I think he's one of them that's had like comic books released of him and things like that. It's almost a superhero character in Mexico. I know there's loads of customizers where Conan is one of the first names that they do. So that'll be a really good one to use for obviously the head and things like that. Depends how the figure turns out. The premium lineup of Wave 1 with the Lucha Brothers was $40 each. So I don't know whether these will follow suit with that.
Probably will be, and then it'll cost us even more to import them. So, but if you want it, you got to pay for it.
Definitely. So my first bit of news is the AEW Chase figures have been appearing in stores in America as of yesterday. So obviously they've been found out in the wild, which we didn't think we were going to get. But yeah, they've been appearing sort of here, there, and everywhere. So fingers crossed we get a couple trickle over here without having to pay $200 plus to get them from ringside.
Yeah, it's still going to be a tough find, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's not going to be wrong. It's still going to be. It's not going to be a local B&M job, is it? I think it's going to be scalping everywhere you can possibly find. But yeah, it's good to see that they're actually coming in on stores.
You never know what's in B&M. Those Hall of Fame Cactus Jacks once appeared in there.
That was a crazy time. But what have you seen? How many people have you seen that found them in the wild, Jamie?
3. I've seen 3.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
you've seen they were here, there, and everywhere. So maybe what?
Only released yesterday in America. So I mean, yeah, that's 3 in a day is not fantastic, but the 3. I'm in the Major Pod Facebook group. So that's 3 out of 1,000 people that I've seen on there, which, you know, it could be more.
It is possible then. The hunt is on.
Fingers crossed in 3 years' time we might bump into one.
Indeed. Shall we move on?
Let's move on. So a little tidbit of news.
A little tidbit as well, speaking of the Major Pod, the Edge heads that were ringside exclusive, which was Edge with a couple of heads, the Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins, they've got a running change. Previously were almost all 3 of them very blonde, very yellow sort of hair. The new one is very more detailed, it's darker. It almost looks like a wetter look of hair, and it actually looks better. So I'd be thinking if I did buy the old version, I would prefer this new one. Have you guys seen the new pics that have come out?
I have. They did look better. I mean, it's not a massive change, but it's definitely a change for the better.
I think with those sort of things, they know that people are going to want the variants if they already have the original. It does look a lot better than the original one before they come out, but the running change I think a lot of people are going to pick them both up because they're going to. Well, that's one thing they talk about quite a lot is the variants and the running changes. So I think they are going to sell well still on these ones.
I just wonder if you're going to feel shortchanged if you've already bought the lesser quality ones and now they've come out with something better. You think, well, I've just paid, how much they cost? About £40 to be with postage, something like that.
Yes, $35. So it would be give or take 40 quid.
And then maybe you bought 3 of them as well to make all 3, and then that's adding up quite a lot of money that you've spent on something that is an inferior product.
Yeah, I think we just have to. Yeah, I think a lot of people willing to spend it. They're willing to spend it. I think a lot of people are buying all 3 just to make the figures. They probably will buy all 3 again to do exactly the same thing, or just buy one and switch the heads over.
Yeah, it's one that they didn't need to rush either, because obviously it's from a long, long time ago. So quite strange that they did that.
Yeah, indeed.
Adam, second bit of news.
Yeah, mine's from Elite 83 that we've just had all the full pictures released of, and it's down to 5 is Elite 83 instead of 6. Velveteen Dream was rumoured to have been the 6th person in, and he's been cut for obvious reasons. Do you guys think that they'll bring somebody else in, or do you think they'll leave it as a 5?
They'll definitely make it a 6, but maybe, they just haven't decided on Velveteen just yet. The jury's still out. He's still on TV, so I would think any sort of changes like that would have. I think if he was going to get pulled from the Elite line, he would have been pulled from TV. I think he'll make it.
I mean, you say that he hasn't been pulled from TV. He did make that little tiny comeback, but then disappeared a little bit again, didn't he?
As far as I know, he was on 2 weeks ago on NXT, but he wasn't on last week. But that's only a week. Not everyone wrestles every week, so
They do not.
I think they're just waiting for it to blow over. I think so. They're not releasing any image. Wouldn't surprise me if they switched it over and put like the Gargano from Halloween Havoc this past week on there or something like that. Because I know also he's part of the Elite squad for WWE, isn't he? So wouldn't surprise me if they did a little switcheroo and put something like that in there. But yeah, very strange one. They're not very open and honest, are they? As much as Jazzwares are. So
it's certainly true.
My second bit of news are the Mania Elites we've had images for. So obviously got the Build-A-Figure Paul Ellering in there. So you got China, Goldberg, Shawn Michaels, and Edge/Test in the WrestleMania series. The best comment I've seen, I don't know if one of you two sent it to me, was someone commented and said, "Why does China come with a small child?" Has anyone seen that?
Yeah, I pointed that one out to you.
That was it. Personal favourite I've seen of it, but I think as a line, as 4, I think they look quite good. There's something for many errors in there. Ellering is a needed one. So what do you guys think about the Build-A-Figure line and the series?
After you, Adam.
Yeah, I mean they look good. The Paul Ellering looks good, and that's the one that I care about. I think Goldberg had enough different about it. I know we discussed last time how different could it be, but it did have a very slight different look, especially facially for me. Edge, I know you're going to disagree with me, Jono, but Edge is terrible. It really does look like Test. I don't know how they went so wrong with the face of Edge. But as a whole line, it's pretty good. It's all right, apart from Edge.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. Let's talk about Edge, shall we? I think you should leave Edge alone a little bit. It's not. I don't think it's as bad as you're making out. And we have only seen this one image that's in the box. I would hope that we're going to find out or see a few more images before release that we might make it look a bit better. It's possibly the hair that's putting it off. It almost looks a bit like he's wearing dreadlocks. So it might be why.
I thought the hair looks like it was almost stuck on. So I don't know if it was the angle of it or whether it could have been just stuck on just for the photo or something before they did it properly. I don't know.
But yeah, as a whole, as you say, the moneymaker is the Paul Ellering. What a classic. Obscure character almost, so it'd be nice to fit him in. I'll definitely buy all 4. I will be just taking Goldberg and selling them separately with the belt, so I should easily get my money back as well as the Build-A-Figure part. So happy with that.
Yeah, I think I've sort of seen a few places doing some deals on the sets as well. I think WrestleBox was 75 quid for the lot, which is not a bad price whatsoever. So, yeah,
Very good.
worth picking up. But yeah, I think the blue Universal title will be, I think it's the first one we've seen, the blue one. So that should put Goldberg, that's probably the reason why he's there, is to do that. Obviously, can't have another Fiend figure, can we? So yeah, I imagine that's probably the reason why we've got Goldberg in this series. Michaels is Tatanka. Michaels, is that right? Mania 9.
Dead air is the crime.
Yeah.
You froze for a second, Jamie.
Oh, did I? Sorry, I was waffling anyway. Yeah, Michaels is Michaels v Tatanka. Is that right? For Mania 9.
Yeah, but I don't know what the context is because you went quiet.
Oh, I'm just talking about Goldberg and
the Shawn Michaels, yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's a great.
Where they're all from, and then also you got China, which is Mania 17, I assume, maybe 16. And obviously, yeah.
17 for China,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, it's Ivory, I think. And then obviously you've got the Ellering, which is from many different eras covered across there. So let's see. Right, next bit of news from us, Jono. What have you got in store?
Did you want to add something there, Adam? Seeing you speaking.
No, I was just going to say how good the Rocco looked as an ending part. Looked exactly like it looked, so that's great.
Like a child.
Yes, to some.
Yes, so back to more pictures. We have seen Elite 81 in the boxes, which the highlight for me, stunning Steve Austin. What a figure.
Yeah, definitely. Downside to it, though, I will say, is the actual box itself.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think the box is good. It just has a weird certified bit on it, doesn't it?
That's what I mean. Sorry, yeah, the little certified. Very strange, but the Austin itself is lovely.
Yeah, what a figure. We need the Brian Pillman to match now. Hopefully that comes shortly.
Well, we got the original Elite Pillman that had the Hollywood Blondes vest in it. I don't think it was as good as it could be. So yeah, a better Pillman would be good.
Yeah, we just need the trunks as well to be black with the red star to match out Austin. I'll be happy. Well, what about the other guys in the line? I know the Street Profits look pretty good. Not my thing with being a current roster, but they are there.
I think as a whole, it's probably the best Elite. If you're a current collector, it's probably the best Elite set you could have possibly asked for. So you got the Profits in there and Bianca Belair. All three of them look really, really good. So I think if you're a current day roster collector or a kid who plays with them as they're more likely intended, it's a really good series to look forward to. So
yeah, Bianca Belair is so detailed. Her attire that she's wearing, absolutely brilliant. Not sure they've nailed it facially, but so detailed in the attire. The Street Profits accessories are absolutely brilliant. I've got a feeling that Montez Ford might shoot up in price depending on how many they make of him in a loose price, because everyone's going to lose those little accessories. So that might be one to look forward to and keep complete.
Yeah, definitely. And also you got Mae Young and The Rock and Shinsuke.
Yeah, The Rock was a bit disappointing. I believe that was from the WrestleMania 32, where he took on Eric Rowan in a 6-second match.
Classic.
Highly memorable.
It's going to devalue the collector's edition that was recently out. The pose is exactly the same in the box.
I don't understand what you're saying with that. I mean, I understand that the pose the same in the box, but I don't see how it's going to undervalue the other figure, which is completely different.
Well, I do agree it's completely different attire-wise, but for people who are kind of showing their figures in a kind of hung up on the room collection, I don't think they'd get both. If they weren't that fussed, I don't think they'd get both. Whereas if it was a completely different pose, they might.
It's never crossed my mind, that sort of thinking.
Interesting. That's probably why.
True.
My next bit of news is the ringside exclusive of Walter that we've seen the box of now. How brilliant is that box? It's got his pose perfect. It's from the New York Takeover 2019, where he finally ended Pete Dunne's UK title reign. It's got the belt, it's got the slap hands as additional accessories, and it's got the Ring General trench coat. I could not have asked for more out of the images that I've seen of that.
Yep, a cracking figure. Unfortunately, it's not for me. It's current roster, but you give it its due. That's very good. And I don't know how possible it was to do this with other figures. The hands behind the arms pose. So well done for nailing that one.
I can't even do that in real life, so I think if I do manage that, then. But yeah, I think in total, it's a lovely box, isn't it? I'm impressed that they've taken the running change from Rick Rude and stuck it with other figures as well. So the robe isn't on him, is actually separate in the box, which is good to see.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. I think we're going to be seeing that 100% going forward now after the Rude gate. By the way, speaking of which, I had a $39.90 check, which when I deposited, I only got £24.24 because of international charges and things like that.
How rude.
Very rude. Little side.
Slowly moving on. The Legends images. So we've had the Legends images leaked, not leaked, revealed, should we say, not leaked. We put them onto our Facebook page, 3 Points of Articulation, and obviously we had a look at them. The DiBiase, I think, for me, is going to be the big selling point of the series, both in the silver and the black. I like the look of both of them. What do you guys think, Jono? What's your view on them?
I like the silver. I mean, I like both figures from the $1 Million Man. However, I do already own the Entrance Great, which is a soft goods version of the black attire. So it's maybe not something I want or need anyway. But it's getting to the point where these figures that are getting released are very similar to ones I've already got. There may be a slight change, like the Undertaker from this series it's a re-release with a cloth jacket and a better head sculpt, which, I mean, I could buy then replace the other one, but it's getting to the point where they're running out of, I don't know if they're running out of ideas or it's just easier to make these.
Running out of costumes.
Maybe.
I think they maybe need to sign more people up to Legends contracts, and then we'd have a wider range of people.
Yeah, definitely. Who else was in that series?
Tatanka.
Oh yeah, Tatanka's brilliant. That was a bit of a surprise. Yeah, that was a nice little surprise to get him in the 1992 debut attire. Happy with that one.
Taker and Nikolai Volkov.
Yeah, Volkov's very similar as well, but and apparently you couldn't put the USSR sickle and star on the attire, so the red flag's completely blank.
That to me is a red flag, if I'm honest. But yeah, makes sense. I think it would be the thing I'd say in that side of things. I think it's a defunct country, isn't it, USSR? So not known for its lovely history, but this isn't a history lesson. That's just, I think it's going to devalue the original one that was released of Volkov, but
it never really had much value to it anyway, so that's all right.
I haven't got it, so that's always a bonus for me. If it devalues something I haven't got, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, for my opinion on it, I think that the DiBiases are really nice. They look amazing. I was disappointed on the darkness of the silver colour on the silver one. Maybe it'll come out lighter when it actually comes out. I've got a feeling it'll come out exactly the same colour as the Virgil. In fact, it looks like the same body as the Virgil with different hands and head stuck on. Tatanka really surprised me. If they'd have said they're releasing another Tatanka, I wouldn't have been fussed at all. And I saw it, and it's really good. So I'm definitely going to be getting that one.
Yeah, I think if hopefully they don't release a Ted DiBiase convention sign that comes with this. But yeah, I think I compared. Well, I looked at the Virgil figure, the Mattel one, and this one, and the suits look almost identical. But that's fine. I mean, they're not clashing. I'm happy with it.
Very good. I think, have you got any more news?
A whole lot of news.
I've just got about the showdown ones. We finally saw the pictures. Are you going to talk about that as well?
Yeah, I thought we'd best leave that one to last because we may move on talking about something else later on.
Let's have our own showdown then between the two of you. Let's discuss it.
Yes, so the showdown are replacing battle packs with the crux that they are coming with plastic side plates, one side plate per wrestler in the box.
Yes.
What a gimmick.
We've always wanted.
Yes, just what we always wanted. So these are just a lead in towards unnecessary accessories. I don't think they add much, and it's definitely one that's going to, it could appeal to kids, and it kind of is Mattel admitting that basics are essentially for the kids, which is a shame because Mattel have made some cracking basics in the past.
Yeah, I mean, they might change it in the future, but I don't know whether you've also seen the pictures of the belts with the side plates actually attached. There's only the WWE title. So if you get Sasha Banks and is it Banks and Bliss, I think, or something like that, like they can only go in the WWE title. So it's not even the women's title at the moment. They might change that in the future, but if they don't, that would be a bit of a travesty.
Yeah, I imagine actually they probably will release a new belt with every series. That's a logical thing to do.
You'd hope.
We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see going forward.
Fingers crossed. I think nothing. Yeah, you'd hope so, and then obviously you'd hope for the retro belts to come out, which didn't originally come with side plates, but they still release it with it. So I mean, you'd have to wait and because a lot of the showdowns, should we say, that they've been doing have been ones from previous history. So The Rock and Triple H, and obviously you've got Bliss and Banks from a few years back. But yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to put it with the new WWE title, especially the Taker Jeff Hardy one. So have to wait and see, won't we?
Yeah, I think we may talk about that a bit later in a bit more detail.
Yes. But next up, we have some lovely little pick-me-ups.
Oh, some lovely pick-me-ups.
Welcome back. Now we have pick-me-ups, which is the segment of the show where we have a look at things that we've picked up since the last episode. Adam, kickstart us off.
I've got one that I bought from surprise eBay. First of all, this one arrived in a bin bag wrapped around it about 4 times, which I almost cried. It has scuffed the corners of it as well, which is a little bit of a shame. This one's growing in value definitely at the moment, and it is the Defining Moments Chris Jericho figure. Obviously coming with the 2 belts from his most famous night. Very definite good choice for the Defining Moments Jericho. It was only £20, so I think I did very well in picking that up. Yeah, definite great one to add to my collection, this one. I've not got very many Defining Moments. I don't know why, because I really like them.
The unbinscuted champion, I guess you could call him.
You couldn't wait to get that one, could you?
I couldn't. Let's save that up.
But at least that is an actual defining moment. You can't argue that one.
Yeah.
What a figure. Good stuff. But there's no damage to it?
Just the corners, the very, very corners. It's white basically because it's been so scuffed in the post. There was no actual dents or anything, which I suppose is a bonus. It could have come completely dented and maybe opened slightly because of it. So I'm quite happy with how it arrived, considering how it was sent.
Yeah, fair enough then. Fair enough. But to anyone listening, do not package things like that
in a bin bag. Yeah, just go down the list.
Okay, so I think I'll go next. And it's actually more of a shout out to a group because these guys have been doing some pretty good stuff. It's the Legion of Hasbro group on Facebook. So last Friday, they ran a quiz, complete free to enter. And I would say joined first, but I actually came second just by not answering as quick as the winner. So I got a lovely little runner-up prize, which consisted of a Legion of Hasbro face mask and a couple of Legion of Hasbro stickers, Legion of Hasbro bottle opener, pretty nifty, and a cane Bop It.
Oh,
Nice.
it's really good.
This is from a WWF label. Looks pretty cool. Might blow it up later and have a big pop on it.
Is that the one that talks? Is that the one? Does it? I think I had a rock one when I was younger.
I don't think it talks. I just think it's an inflatable.
Oh, that's a shame. But yeah, I think the Facebook groups, I think you can certainly tell which ones are putting the effort in. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I think there's certain ones where you get that vibe that they're putting a lot of effort in. They put a lot of effort in. They're sort of a lot more vocal. They're doing things like the bottle openers and the stickers just to get the name out there because it's early days for them. And then there's other ones where it takes 12 hours to get a post accepted and so on. So I think you can certainly tell which ones are putting the effort in.
Yeah, I mean, like they also do raffles, and sometimes I'm a bit funny with raffles because they always seem to inflate the price, and it's a bit greedy in some respects. But the guys always use a good price range for the raffle, and any money they do get in profit or extra money they'll put into things like this, like the quiz. It's free to enter. The prize was actually MOC Giant Gonzalez Hasbro, so that's a value of 50 quid at least. I don't know too much about value. So the guys have put a lot into it. I believe it's mostly Robbie Duncan that donates the prizes. So big shout out to Robbie and to Phil Rapley, who runs the quiz. So he did a really good job of that. Usually when you do quizzes on Facebook, it's quite hard to compete due to lag, but he set up some system where there's no lag and it worked perfectly. So huge shout out for that. I did also win a bonus prize. I don't have it in front of me. It was a Crush backing card from a Hasbro green card. So that's a pretty interesting as well.
Other quizzes are available, just to let everyone know. But mainly one on the FWL. Jono's doing one at the moment. So
yes, we are doing a quiz on the Fantasy Wrestling League. Little shout out to our group as well, of course.
Adam, what's your first pick me up?
My first? Were you not listening on my first one, Jamie? This is my second.
The second. Your first one.
Yeah.
Jono went.
I got my AEW figures through from Big Pop Shop. We don't need to talk about these for ages because obviously Jamie's already covered them. But got Kenny Omega, Cody, and Chris Jericho. I think with these figures, it shows what a world of difference accessories make because the Cody one is terrible. It's one of the worst things I've seen as a boxed figure. It's awful. I know they're doing a second batch, which will hopefully be better, but you compare it to the Chris Jericho with all the accessories on it, so you can't see the flaws, and it's just completely different. But boxes, great, like we talked about last time.
Yeah, it's disappointing to hear about the quality of the figures because they seem so promising at first. I've also got a pre-order with Fig Pop Shop, but I did message Steve and I said, if possible, just send it out to other people first because I'm in no rush to get them. It may be a bit of hope that they might improve by the time he gets his second batch in, and they just get them all together, including the books.
My Cody arrived last week. It's in the loft. I've broken the latch to the loft, so I can't get in there. So I can't get it down, sadly. But yeah, I agree. I think figure-wise, it looks more like Billy Idol than Cody. But I think it's just a lot of promise in the series. I think, fingers crossed, they're using Series 1 to get a bit of money and a bit of traction to then invest more into the later series. So I know Wave 2, Pentagon Jr. and Ray Phoenix have both lost the spare heads that were supposed to come with them. So I think they might be cutting back a bit on costings, but hopefully going forward, so they're releasing a series a month going forward. So
yeah, I heard that rumor as well that Hangman's lost his bandana as well. I don't know if it's true, but I just heard that. That's
a massive shame as well because it's a big part of his entrance.
Yeah,
and it'd be good for the current situation where we've all got to wear face masks. So it's probably well. But I think what she could have done with it. I'll do my one pick-me-up this week, as soon as we're here. I got a Toy Biz bundle. So obviously, Jono spoke about Perry Saturn the other day, and I picked up some Toy Biz figures from Facebook. I mean, they bring back memories, if I'm honest, but I think you can certainly see why I'd opt for these over the Titantrons at the time. I think I've picked up both, but I think quality-wise in the toys, these feel a lot better, whereas the Titantron ones, I think, look a lot better, but the missus thinks they're ugly. But I picked up Sting in his coat there. A Hollywood Hogan. I got a Scott Hall, which has a leg broken, so it turned to a Zach Gowen custom. There he is. I got a DDP, which I had as a child, and a Macho Man, which has it's a glued-on leg on Macho Man, which is annoying because I remember him being quite good for a powerbomb as a youngster. And I also got a Kevin Nash with an arm off, but they work fine for just literally playing with the 1-year-old. It keeps him away from my expensive ones. He's obsessed with the Macho Man Ultimate Maniacs one because it's got a hat. So I think if I put these in front of him, he tends to go for these. So more of a distraction than anything else on there. And also got some BCAs, Shamrock Christian and Bob Holly in the Job Squad. And that is my pick-me-ups.
Yeah. Well, that was a good week for you, wasn't it, Jamie?
Yes and no. I think it's a total value of £10 I paid for all of them. So yeah, it's sort of good value, but I think it's just good just to have stuff to give to the child for him to distract him with before we move on to the Mattel basics when he's a bit older.
I used to love that Macho Man one before Mattel got their hands on him, because obviously there was no Jakks released of him. So I used to really enjoy that one, and I thought toyetic-wise, it looked really good as well.
Yeah, the Macho Man is quite a similar mold to the Perry Saturn that we've talked about last time, but it was actually a bit more, like, have you seen, it's a bit more loose. It becomes quite loose if you play with it. So I guess that might have been what happened to the one Jamie's got. And Scott Hall, also very prone to injury. I had one as a kid and I snapped it just by doing the action that I should do. I should have really competed and took it back.
It might even be this one. Never know. I think I had one. I had the ones with the Wolfpack hands when I was younger. The one with those hands. Didn't ever own this one. I remember the coat was a nightmare to get off. And once you got it off, you couldn't get it back on again. But yeah, I think overall I quite like the Toy Biz line. I think I'm gonna collect them as well as the Titantron ones and get the whole arenas and stuff. But yeah, it's a good place to start. Just get some of the old, the big names, get a Goldberg in there, and take it from there, really.
Yeah, I still might do that. But I want the Nitro Arena. If I ever get that for a good price, that would be the stuff. Shall we move on to me?
Move on.
I wasn't going to buy anything outside the Jakks Classic core line of series 1 to 28, but when something comes up at a good price, I was offered this special edition Sunny for only £20 plus postage. So I snapped that one up. So thanks to Craig on Facebook for that.
What is it, a one of?
One of 3,000. It's a Toy Fair magazine exclusive. It looks like a Body Donners type outfit, I would say, with the towel. No, I've got some glare on my picture.
I mean, the towel looks like it's just been thrown in there, but it's not well positioned, is it? It's just like someone's chucked it at it. But I'd say as a figure, the gold on the Classic Superstars, I think, is probably the most toyetic box I've seen. It pops, doesn't it?
It's the only figure line I've ever collected in box.
You're probably not going to get a Mattel version of Sunny either, so it's a good one to get.
Well, you never know. We've got China, so I don't see why not. She's sort of been in the same sort of stories as China, let's just say.
Yes. My next one is bought from Facebook from a guy in the Fantasy Wrestling League called Sean Hurd. Thank you, Sean. He was sending a prize for the FWL, and I thought I'd just pick up a couple of things that I saw that he was selling. And your favourite, Jamie? There's good old Sting. I definitely think that's the best Sting figure that's been released. And I was feeling a little bit Halloweeny, and I bought a zombie Jeff Hardy off him as well. Definitely think that's the best zombie figure that they released. I've not got them all, but yeah, good Sting figure, that one.
Old statement about the zombies. I did make a point of getting them all for my son to play with, and I've recently actually just got the cane, which has been the one that was the most difficult to get. I maybe should have included, but it's not for me. It was for my son. So yeah, it's a good toy line, to be honest. It's quite cool looking.
I think it's gonna be one of those things like Maximum Sweat figures, where at the time, I think, what was it, 99, 2000, I was like, these are the worst things that I've ever seen in my life. Whereas now I'm like, oh, actually, I wouldn't mind having a look at all of them. I think you go back and then you have a look at some of the ones that are released. So I think maybe in 5-6 years' time, I think the zombie line or monsters line, whatever it's called, might then start to get a bit of traction into it. So I think some of them are quite good. Jake the Snake looks quite good. I think Jericho is a mummy. Is that right?
That's a different line. That's the monster line. Come on, Jamie.
It's potato, or retro, as we say.
Yeah, I think a lot of people saw them and thought, oh, that's just tat. But they're actually made as good quality as the Mattel figures, and I think that's what makes them better than tat.
Better than tat.
But I agree that Sting is the best surface Sting that we've ever seen so far. Hopefully it can do better.
Never know.
You got more, Jono?
I do. I was unsure if I would have much to show on this, so I decided to seek out the Rocky Johnson, and Wrestling Trader was able to come through straight away with that. So Wrestling Trader always seems to get the exclusive stuff. So if you ever need anything, have a look there. They are available from Wrestle HQ. I think he's just put them in stock as well. And I believe Fig Pop Shop, excuse me, I keep saying that. And I know fine well I'm doing it. Also starting to get the exclusive line in, so plenty of options in the UK for that. Figure itself, it's just, the only issue is it's a bit too dark-skinned, unfortunately.
I think we had the same problem with Farouk as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
With the APA.
Yeah, it's strange because the Ron Simmons figure was a lighter skin tone.
Yeah, strange. I think it's good at the moment that a lot of the smaller figure places, should we say, that are getting these elites in before a lot of other places. It seems that the big retailer, Smiths basically, are only getting the ones that they know are going to sell. So you got your Taker, your Bulldog pre-orders that are going up, which of course are going to sell because they're two of the biggest names. Whereas the Rocky Johnsons, the Mae Young, Michael Hayes, the Billy Graham ones, they're more than likely they're going to sell, but not in the quantities of the others. So it's good we've got the other options with Wrestling Trader, Wrestle HQ, Fig Pop Shop, even WrestleBox are doing the same sort of thing. So it's good that these places are actually stepping up and taking the risk. Because that's what it's going to be, is a risk end of the day, isn't it?
I don't think they've got any danger of not selling them, to be honest. Because they're going to have that small niche market that want them figures.
And the pre-orders they discussed last week.
Let's not go there.
No. I've actually got one little other thing, which I didn't pay for, but it counts as a pick-me-up.
Ooh, surprise.
Samuel Beattie from the Watch the Podcast, the first episode, where we discussed Road Dogg being an underrated figure, and I said that I lost the hat because it come in the post. He's messaged me, and he's actually sent me a hat free of charge. So,
good boy.
Yeah, shout out to fellow Fulham fan Sam Beattie. Didn't even charge me postage. What a man.
Yes, it's good when the community comes together and offers something for nothing like that. That was very good of him. Well done, Sam.
And Sam. We'll call this segment the Samuel Beattie Pick-Me-Ups as a reference to him.
My next one is an Elite Collection SmackDown one, and it is the Iconics Billy Kay figure that I got off eBay again. I already got Peyton Royce, believe it or not. I got it in that order. Most people got Billie Kay because she was averagely easy to pick up, and then got Peyton Royce by spending a little bit more money. I managed to get them both combined for £43, which I think is an absolute bargain for both of those. Obviously, there's no more Iconics, so they're not going to be made as the Iconics anymore. So I'm really happy to own those two.
So what's your line of thinking in buying the Iconics? Are you displaying them in the box, or?
Yeah, I think I'm going to keep those ones in the box. I have no current display at the moment. I did have an NXT one for a while, but I've taken that down now. So I think keep them in the box until my thinking goes towards the current product again, because I'm very much a chop and change type of guy.
Yeah, I hate changing anything, which is why I still got figures I haven't opened, so I have to sort all that out.
Yeah, I quite like the Iconics figures. I think they've had two. They had the battle packs, and they've had an elite each. I can't see Billie Kay getting another one. Peyton Royce, apparently they're quite hot on Peyton Royce, so wouldn't surprise me if she got another one or a couple on the line. But yeah, I think that's going to be the only Billie Kay figure that we're going to get for a while, if ever.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I've heard the rumours about them really liking Peyton Royce, and to be fair to her, she has improved a lot over the past few months. But Billie Kay, I think, has a lot more about her than Peyton Royce on the mic. The way that her expressions are, I can see her being the bigger star way down the line.
Yeah, she's funnier. Look at that.
Yes. Right, move on to my final purchase, which is, well, let's do a little prelude. The Euroshop, WWE Euroshop, have been releasing new replicas like all year, but they've usually would discount them after maybe 2 months, but like 6 months plus down the line, they haven't reduced anything. So I was lucky enough to come across, again on Facebook, on EWC and the European Home and Wrestling Belt, Paul Gibson had for sale the new United States Championship belt.
Oof.
And what a beauty that is. It's absolutely massive. It's deep as well. You can see the sort of depth on the...
looks a bit like an owl if you look at it from the front.
Well, it's an eagle on the front there.
No, I mean like
No.
the face design of it. But how deep is it?
At this point, I believe it's 5 or 6 millimeter. I'm not sure. I would have said 5, but it looks a bit deeper than that, if I'm honest.
Yeah,
They are slightly hollow inside if you did take this plate out, but obviously the looks of it and all these like letters, very deep etching. So I guess this is maybe a reason why they've stopped reducing them so quickly, because they have put a lot more effort into it and a lot more detail and a lot more metal.
That belt is garish and it should be completely horrible, but I absolutely love it. I think it's one of the best belts that they've brought out in ages, and I don't know why. I can't tell myself why. It's just it's beautiful.
Yeah, it sort of grows on you, doesn't it?
I think they're designed by, was it Wildcat Belts? I think do the design for the most recent belts that they've had. The Intercontinental, the US, tag titles as well. The women's tag titles, they've all been from Wildcat Belts. So I think that's the gradual improvement that we've seen, is that we haven't just seen the standard sort of layout for a belt. We've actually seen some effort gone into the designs, which is good to see.
Yeah, and of course it was due to happen because of the old side plate gimmick that they've got now, where the old US belt never had the side plate. So I imagine I think they're all belts have got side plates now, I believe.
Well, you can put your Championship Showdown side plates in there, can't you?
No.
No.
I think it's just the 24/7 one that doesn't.
Yeah, well, that would be a pain in the butt to change them out all the time, wouldn't it?
It would be horrible. Yeah.
So that's me done.
Randomly talking about side plates, I really hope they release the Birch and Lorcan one that they've just put out, because they're really nice. Obviously, I'm a bit biased because I'm a huge fan of theirs, but I really like the side plates as well with the 1-2 design.
I've never seen them. I'll have to keep a lookout on NXT.
So my final two then. First one, again, we'll do it quickly because I think somebody's already covered it, but WrestleBox had the Bobby the Brain Heenan Legend figure, managed to get it for £25 all in, which I thought was an absolute bargain, and definitely good to pick up.
Nice.
And the final one, not figure related, more of a kind of cosplay type of thing. I don't know much about it, so you might be able to tell me a bit about it, but it is the Mankind mask.
Put it on.
I don't know if it's official, but it's really nice. Managed to get that for £10 to £15, I think.
Does it fit?
Yeah, but it's really hard to get over my head, and my head's not that big.
We've
So
got
for something with a
time.
big head, might be too hard.
We've got more than enough time, Adam. Go on. Treat yourself. Pop it on.
Here we go.
Well,
What's going on?
Oh, that. You know what? With your hair, your hat
It
hair.
even looks like I've pulled out my strands of hair as well.
Yeah, that. Can you just say that for the rest of the video?
Absolutely not. Stinks.
Going to B&M wearing it is technically a face mask.
No, I don't know much about these, so I couldn't shed any new light other than what you know, but fun little item to pick up.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, masks wise, I think I had a cane one, a plastic cane one as a child. They're quite interesting. I think I'd certainly pick up some more when I have my own toy room like you guys have, rather than just an allocated bit in my bedroom that I'm allowed. So I think, yeah, I quite like a mask every now and again. I think I need a mask.
When you grow up, Jamie.
Yeah, when I hit the late 30s, I'll invest.
I'm not in my late 30s at all, so.
No.
Me neither.
Not yet.
No.
That's a lie.
Adam, any more pick me up to this?
Yep. That is me done. That is all 6.
Lovely stuff. Brilliant. Well, I think you guys have had a decent week this couple of weeks.
Absolutely.
I've had some masks. I've got some Toy Biz fodder, and a lovely little hat. What could you want out of life? Right, we're back.
Big belt and a toy room, Jamie.
Sorry?
A big belt and a toy room.
Yeah. I mean, they're two things that on my to-do list. Next up, we've got the weekly talking point. Adam, make sure you keep the Bobby Brain Heenan one to your side. So I'm going to talk about that in a second. And we'll see you guys in a And welcome back. We have Break It Down, which is our segment that we like to cover our weekly talking points and having a look at issues that are griping us, should we say, or things that we enjoy at the moment. This week, we've got Idle Hands, which is about unnecessary accessories, which I've got to say very slowly because there's a lot of S's knocking about in there. Adam, what's your view on unnecessary accessories, and what do you class as an unnecessary accessory?
Well, I think we need to talk about the hands first, considering it's called Idle Hands. We have mentioned it on this podcast before. There are slight hints of them trying to put the hands in for a reason. I know you've mentioned Bobby Heenan in the last segment, Jamie. There's Viscera with the
Spock.
The new Walter that's come out has got the slap hands with him. So there is slight little hints that Mattel are obviously probably getting issues and complaints that people don't like the extra hands. So they are trying a little bit, but with every single figure is so unnecessary. Just really unnecessary. What about you, Jono, on that one?
Well, I mean, if you want to take it back, I think this all started with the initial Elite series, or even the basics as well. At the time they were being released with figure stands. Now, actually, I wouldn't say they were unnecessary, but I believe this is where they wanted to start with these extra bits that were in Elites or even basics at the time, as I said early on, where they would possibly be taken away from the budget of the figure. So as we progress on, they kind of lost the stands and they started banging out some really good figures with good accessories. Then we hit around Elite 46, I believe, is when they started putting the stands with the dioramas in. Now, those stands were pretty bad. The diorama, unnecessary. I know some people might like the Schamberger portraits that they started doing towards the end of that run, but I also felt they were unnecessary. Take away from the budget, take away from the accessories. And then the hands and heads started. So then we end up, as a collector, this is just for my collection, nothing to do with business, but I've got this much full of heads and hands. Just going spare. There's Kane heads, there's Bret Hart heads from the Ultimate Warrior head from the Ultimate. Then I've got a Dusty Rhodes in there, although I don't think that's from there. Andre the Giant, different heads, hands all over the place. Unless you are, I think even if you are a customizer or a figure photographer, you still don't need this many hands. You could just swap them out one hand to another because they're often just the same hand in a different figure box.
Yeah, I think it's strange. I think I always end up with my head in my hands when I see some of them. Because, yeah, as you say, I've got a box upstairs of accessories, just pointless hands up there. Look, Sid from Toy Story's been up there. It's crazy. The Ultimate Edition's got, Bret Hart's got 2 extra arms, which fills the box out nicely. I haven't switched them over at all, but yeah, it's just very, yeah, for the figure, but yeah, the extra arms and the 2 extra heads, all 3 with hair in front of them.
Do you think half of Mattel's thinking on those would be that a really hardcore collector might buy 3 of the figures, like we talked about with the Edge and Hawkins and Ryder, but a real hardcore Bret Hart fan, for instance, might buy 3 of the figures to make the different versions?
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly see that. I myself have 2 versions of Bret, one with the jacket, one without. So it's definitely there for that. But that's the Ultimate Edition, which it's fair enough. I would say it's fair enough for that. But it's just when these hands are coming with every figure, you just end up with a bag full of the same things. And for the most part, these hands don't make any difference. But as you say, with certain figures, if they need the extra hands, like the point that you said with Bobby Heenan, that sort of thing, makes sense, absolutely, included in that sort of thing. But I don't think Rocky Johnson needs extra hands, not at all.
I think obviously the Bobby the Brain one, I think they couldn't use the point because they needed to fit in the Weasel costume, and obviously they need the fingers on the outside, so they need that for the point. So it's, yeah, very strange. The Montez Ford one we covered earlier in Weekly News, I quite like those hands because there's gold gloves that he has in the entrance, so you can then switch them over if you're playing with it or you're doing figure photography or something like that. You've then got that option, which makes sense. I thought they missed a trick with the Mae Young ones. I thought they could have just put one hand in there and people would have got the joke. There's a few situations like that where you get these hands where you got the open hand to hold an accessory, and you've also got the closed hands, which no one's asked for. Just give us the open hands. Don't give us both. Just give us one.
There's not many people that really require a closed hand. It's maybe just for the guys like the Big Show that might do the punch as a finish, or Roman Reigns with a Superman punch, something like that. But not everyone needs the closed hands, certainly not.
No, it's just pointless after a while, isn't it? I think it's very, very pointless. But yeah, I think the extra arms, the extra heads, the Bret Hart heads and the Ultimate one makes no sense. All 3 of them are pretty much and just got hair all over them. Just give us one without hair on it, and I'd use that.
Yeah, one decent breast scan with one decent bit of hair would be happy. Yes.
Speaking of, which one of the 3 did you dress up as yesterday for Halloween, Jono? Which one did you go for?
I went for all 3, I think, because I did have the jacket on and the jacket off look.
Oh, that's lovely.
Did you have an awful looking head as well?
Apparently.
Did you cover your face with the hair? It's the important question.
The wig was terrible. I'll have to put that in the bin, I think.
But yeah, I think yeah, it's just certain. As you said earlier in the Elite series, when they started producing the Schamberger prints, which is a good concept, but I think they've got to start that concept from the start of the Elite series. Otherwise, if you're displaying half of the Elites with the backgrounds and then half of them just without it, it just doesn't really fit in my scenario. That's just in my opinion.
I don't think it ever fit. It's a wasted budget. Nobody really wants that sort of thing. What's the point? Well, I mean, the reason why I mean we sort of moved towards this is because of the showdown figures and that they come with the side plates. So we thought they were unnecessary, and it stemmed my thinking to say, oh, okay, if they're going to do something like this, what sort of necessary accessories could they put in? And with the side plates, I think it's actually a good idea. But what they should do is make the smaller side plates that fit on the belts that come with them. So you have your unique side plates for the figures, not for a toy. So you could, as an Elite line, include side plates specific for that wrestler to put on the Elite belts, because they are pretty interchangeable.
Yeah, they'd have to be really little. But if they made it into almost like a button design on the back and then it just clicked in rather than having to screw it or do anything, because you would lose them if they didn't just like magnetically click in or something like that. It would be doable. They would be tiny though. In the box, you might miss them when you're first looking at it, maybe.
And even so, I still wouldn't include them with every figure. Certainly not the legends that never ever had side plates on their belts. So I think it should only be with certain guys that have already got the side plates on the belt. So not with everyone, but it's a nice little thing to add, I think.
Yeah.
For the current guys.
Yeah, I think for the historic ones, it's not going to make a great deal of sense, is it? For example, fun fact of the episode, Mark Henry, every belt he's ever won is now discontinued or defunct. So, I mean, yeah, you can get some side plates of Mark Henry, but you want to get on the ECW title, which they probably won't release again with a Mattel one because they've had it too many times. So, I think, yeah, it's just, it'd be, yeah, I agree with the sort of button side of things. The screwing on thing is not going to make any sense. You're going to lose it. I've already lost it in my head and not even released. So,
You lose anything, Jim.
Including my hair, yeah. Yeah, I think on the whole, yeah, I agree. It's strange.
So, Jamie, do you know of any kind of accessories which are really weird going with figures when you've looked into this?
Weird, yeah, in the sense of like, not why did it come? The Virgil one we discussed earlier, the convention sign. It just makes zero sense to me why you've got a Virgil figure that comes with a convention sign. Of all the accessories, put some money in there with him. I know they've got the basketball with the DiBiase Elite, but something like that references to that. That's the one in recent memory to me that sticks out as the Virgil convention sign. As soon as I got it, it just went straight in the loft and in a box, and never to be seen again. It's just a very, very strange one. How about you? Can you think of anything that springs to mind accessories-wise?
Not really. I think a lot of the chairs are getting a bit monotonous now, like the Survivor Series chairs and the SummerSlam chairs and things like that. People generally at first thought, oh, that's quite cool, but it's wearing a little bit thin now. I do have to give Mattel a bit of credit that they don't go completely weird. I mean, Jono might be able to think of one that proves me wrong, but like if you look at Jax, they used to release belts with people that had never won the belt. They used to release bins with people that were never in a hardcore match or anything like that. Whereas I do think Mattel put a lot more thought in than that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for the most part, they do have the accessories that make sense. It's just when they throw in this extra gimmick of extra hands and extra heads, it's not for me. But come to think of it, I was just looking through my little box of spares, things I can't display. One of them is the basketball that comes with the $1 Million Man. I certainly get why they include it because of a little promo where the kid is bouncing the ball and doesn't get the money. But you can't display that. It'll just drop out of his hand straight away. The plaque that comes with him is a Hall of Fame, as well as the stand is a bit. Yeah, who cares about a Hall of Fame? Because it's out of place, to be honest. He was inducted in 2015, something 13. Whereas the figure is based in the 80s, 70s. So
Was that Bruno? Sorry, I think we missed the
Bruno Sammartino, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. I think it doesn't make the old mashups again, isn't it? That's the
McKenna mashup.
yeah. You're not going to display it with that, are you?
Nah, not for me.
No, I mean the million dollar man basketball. I've actually got blue tacked into his hand because obviously he wouldn't fit at all. But I've got a $1 million man display that's getting started, so it's the only way I could figure out how to do that. It's in my probably top 5 moments of wrestling, that promo. So I do disagree with you a little bit on that because the fact that it came with that really made me smile.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely fine. I was just looking through my little box and I came across it. Just hard to display, really.
Yeah, definitely.
Good little tip.
There's obviously the one that sticks out, $1 Million Man. Is not side notes the accessories, but the one where he made the fan kiss his foot. You remember that? And that fan was Rob Van Dam.
Fun facts all over the place, Jamie. You're desperate to get that section in, aren't you?
Firing out there. I think some figures. I'm gonna cover one in the underrated Superstar in a second, but I think there's some accessories that we're missing from certain lines. Mainly belts. I think the Warrior one. I think we spoke about a few weeks ago, Johnny, where he come with the wrong Intercontinental title.
Yeah, the Ultimate Warrior first came with a yellow winged eagle, which never existed. So it should have come with either or both of the yellow Intercontinental and the black winged eagle to represent WrestleMania 6, which you'd think if they're going to do the new Ultimate in that style, they'll include both of those belts.
Yeah, you'd hope so. Also, you got the blue winged eagle as well, which you had going forward, didn't you? So,
the blue and purple, which we haven't seen from Mattel yet, or lavender, I believe it's called.
Yeah. I've started picking up random doing the fake belts that look relatively decent for display. I've got one. I got the blue winged eagle one there, which they look quite good for displaying. I got my eBay from Skull Bones Customs, I want to say. But yeah, they look quite good, and obviously you get I've got a Jericho jersey from Fig Tees, which look quite good on display and certain things. So I think certain accessories, they're not going to give it to us. People are just going to make them. We're just going to go out and buy them. Is the general gist of it. And there's a lot of decent customizers out there which will do a job on them. So this Jericho tee is lovely. It comes with a bit of Velcro on the back to pop on him. Just got to wait for the defining moments when they come in the post. I've been waiting for the last 3 months, and I can pop them on it.
So was that belt a custom one as well?
Yeah, so this belt is literally made out of foam, and it's got Velcro on the end, and you literally just pop it on. It sits on like that.
Because we did have a question in our Q&A we didn't think we were worth mentioning, but since you brought it up, why not? Let's go with this. So what do we prefer, the custom belts or the elite belts that come with figures? That was from Richard Scarf.
Obviously the elite belts, I think if you're looking at a value-wise, they're obviously going to skyrocket up, a lot of them, like the North American one and so on. Looks-wise, I'd say the custom ones are, because if you're displaying them, custom ones look great. So I'd say I prefer the custom ones to the elite ones.
I would have thought it was a no-brainer because, I mean, I've had a few custom ones in my time and they don't measure up to the actual real ones that Mattel have produced. So I'm surprised you said that, Jamie.
I'm going off a graph.
I'm with you, John, on that one. I think there's a couple of really good customizer of belts where you're looking at like $35, $40 for a belt, which I'm not going to pay. I have my display with a big window shining in on it. And any of these custom belts that are foam, all it does is the light shines off it and you can't see it. So they're not good for how I want to do it. I'm not going to say they're not good at all, but they're not good for how I want to do it. And I think just the feel of it, the 3D effect, it needs to be that for me.
I use mine for. I mean, I don't think people ever see mine of the untrained eye. It's my Auntie Tracy that pops around on a Tuesday. It's those, not anymore after the lockdown, but yeah, those sort of things that no one's really going to know the difference. They're not going to know that this isn't an elite belt. I think value-wise compared to quality-wise, I mean, this was, I think I got 10 for like £8 posted, and you get to pick your own 10. So I think that's what I'm going off is value compared to quality, and I'd say that's where it comes in.
Yeah, you can't argue with the value of that, and you sort of get the belts that Mattel haven't released as well. So there's certainly the benefits in them as well, and the guys do a good job making them.
Yeah, exactly. Shout out to all the customizers. As you can tell, Johnny's a big fan of belts in the background there.
Yep.
Yeah, huge. Right, any other further points that you guys have to talk about on unnecessary accessories?
I think we've went off an unnecessary route, to be honest, so we may have to close this one down.
Idle hands. Lovely. Right, so we should be back soon with our underrated...
In our superstar!
Welcome back, and this is our segment of the underrated our superstar, where we're going to each discuss and bring to the table one wrestling figure that we think is underrated in the community for one reason or another. It doesn't usually go anywhere after that, but we can we sort of just have a little discussion amongst ourselves, really. We start with John last time, so Adam, why don't you kick us off?
I veered away from Mattel this week for the first time. Now, the one that I've got is actually quite loose and stuff, but obviously for vision value, I have this figure, and it is the Figure Toy Company Legends of Professional Wrestling Blue Meanie figure.
Oh.
Now, this for me, I don't know whether you've seen close-ups, guys, but the face is perfect on this. It is as good as a Mattel scan could be. It's going a little bit blurry as I get closer there. Obviously, accessories-wise, from what we've just talked about, it's got the half jumper with the blue meanie on the front and the back. So it's got detail. I mean, it would have been brilliant with the BWO, but I doubt they own the rights for it. It's got knee pads, removable knee pads. The shorts, I don't think they're removable because there's nothing underneath. I don't think they come fully down. The belt is actually like a real belt. It comes off, it undoes. It's actually a proper belt, which is strange on that one. People may say that, oh, these are hanging too low, but I don't know if you remember Blue Meanie, but pretty much all you could ever see when he took a move was his butt crack. So there we go on that one. These figures aren't the best made. They do go really loose, like I said, with that.
Yeah.
But I think facially wise and toyetic wise, and the fact it's never had a release from Hasbro, Jakks, or Mattel makes this a very, very underrated figure. Well
said. It's something that I've never really looked at closely. The as you say, the Figs Toy Company, they do accessories really good, and for the most part, the head scans are all right, but then, as you say, the bodies have just let them down so badly. It's almost a copy of the Jakks. Would you say that's a fair comment?
Copy of the Jakks bodies, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. I don't think the material's as good as the Jakks ones, to be honest. Right. It's too prone to going loose easily, even if you don't play with it. Yeah,
I've only ever considered buying one, and I didn't, and I kind of regret it now. Was the Jim Cornette?
Yeah, I've got that one as well.
I think they're quite rare now. Jamie, your thoughts on the Blue Meanie?
I've never seen one up close before like this. Sort of wish you picked one where his jeans fit, but yeah, I think the detail on it looks a lot better. I think they put a lot of good to see. I know that there's been recent releases of, is it Chris Candido and Francine have been the most recent ones that they've released. So a lot of the die-hard fans of ECW are going to be picking these guys up. I have seen, because I know they're quite limited to the figures that they've been released, and I've seen that some of them arrive damaged in the box when they take it out, which is not ideal for a new company. But I think it's good to see that smaller companies are doing figures like this and producing that sort of quality of the head scan. Display-wise, is going to be great. I mean, I'm sure you put that on display, Adam, wouldn't you? So, I imagine playing with wise isn't be that good, but I don't think that's what they're there for.
Well, I'm actually using the parts to make a custom. I've sent the head off for recasting, so I've got a smaller version of the head now through. I'm going to use obviously these accessories to go with it. I might change it up a BWO version, but yeah, going to do that.
Which body are you going to use for that? Which body?
I don't know. My initial thoughts are maybe a Kevin Owens body.
Dusty Rhodes, maybe.
Maybe.
Good shout. Nice
John,
figure.
What's your input into the underrated R superstar?
Well, Adam's moved away from Mattel, so I've moved towards Mattel. And a few years ago, we had, mostly prevalent in the USA, where we had this little running joke that there was one figure warming the shelves for so long that it got its own nickname, and it was Target Tito Santana Elite Hall of Fame series. So the reason why I'm saying it's underrated is because of how, obscure the character is. Well, it's not obscure, but it's one of those that you might not think would be made. And the bonus reason is because it was released at the same time as the Elite 35 Los Matadores, which means you can nicely create an El Matador pretty nicely from that figure. So that is my underrated figure of the week.
Ariba.
Figures even. Two.
Figures. Yeah, well, one's a custom job. But yeah, I think I've got the Tito one. It'd be good if they released a Rick Martel to go with it. But have to wait and see on that. But yeah, I quite like the figure. I think I picked it up only because I needed it for my late 80s shelf. So I think that's the reason I picked up a Tito. I was never really a massive Tito fan, but I can see why people are, because he's a good workhorse. But yeah, quite like it. Adam, what's your views on?
Yeah, I've always been a fan on that figure. It always kind of disappoints me when I see it on eBay at like £2 or £3. I love the t-shirt. I do think the face is almost like a comic version of his face. I'm not a huge fan of the face. Just for your El Matador custom, Johnny, if you ever see the Jax Deluxe Tito El Matador version, that's a much better head to use, but obviously it's quite rare to get.
I have seen that head. I really dislike it. I don't think it looks anything like him. It's possibly too big for the figure as well.
Yeah,
I've not seen it. Yeah.
I used to always get confused as a child because was it Gorilla Monsoon that used to call him Chico?
Chico. That was Jesse Ventura.
Jesse Ventura, that was it.
Yeah.
And it always used to confuse me because I thought he had a brother.
That's true. And he used to call him Gino every now and again. Everyone. Gino Monsoon.
My one this week, I've stuck with Mattel because I'm not going to veer away from it just yet. I'm not finished with it. I've gone for the Steven Regal that they've done. The reason for this is because, also, you're a big WCW fan. Obviously, you remember Steven Regal as Steven Regal, the guy that showed Goldberg up when he was early in his career. Take the jacket off, and you've got 2001 William Regal, which I think is a really good thing that they've done. I think they could have used different outfits for Steven Regal. So it's good to see that they've put in the sort of scarlet, dark red pants with William Regal. So yeah, I think that's why I think it's quite underrated. It's because it comes up really cheap for some reason. I'm guessing it was reduced in one of the big retailers for a while. And that's probably why it's sort of £5 yet, probably from Toys R Us or Smith's or Entertainer or something. And that's probably why it's like that. But I think all in all, I quite like the figure. Face-wise, it looks relatively good. It could do with a bit more of a smile for Commissioner Eagle. A bit angry, and he, bless him. But just drunk his tea from Jericho again. But yeah, I think it's quite good to have that balance of WCW, take the jacket off, New York Commissioner Eagle.
Take it away, Adam.
Yeah, good choice for me, that one. Completely agree with both that it can be used as Lord Steven Regal and William Regal. Obviously, going to a similar point as John said for Tito, it's really good to have those accessories to make a Bobby Eaton figure as well for the Blue Bloods, because they both wore the same type of entrance robe.
And actually, Paul Levesque or whatever he was called in WCW, also wore that as an entrance for a very brief period. So you could actually pop those entrance gear onto your network spotlight Triple H, and you've got a WCW John Paul Levesque. But yeah, good 2-in-1 fig.
Defo.
Blue blood. Get him on there. He looks good with his custom belt as well. We can pop a custom belt on him. But yeah, lovely. That's it for this week for the underrated superstar. Hello and welcome to One King to Rule Them All. So we've been covering 8 of the King of the Ring winners over the last couple of episodes. We're now into the semi-final, so it's starting to heat up. This is where you put the cats among the pigeons. So this week, first match we have up is Mabel versus Brett. John is going to lovely display there. 2 actual kings, which is good. 2 King of the Ring based figures. Adam, do you want to kick us off? What's your view on Mabel?
Brilliant figure, absolutely brilliant. It's very toyetic. Like Jono's said in a previous one, the big men, for some reason, they always look brilliant. They always look a lot better than if a small man was wearing the same thing. The crown's really nice. The face is accurate. There's effort in the knee pads, effort in the design. Really nice with Mabel.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have talked about it in the first episode, so we don't really need to say much. So, yeah, I agree with everything that's said. This is going to be a tough one because they are both so good.
I'll tell you what, I'll kick off the voting just to make things a bit easier. I agree with all Adam's points, but for me, I'm going to go with Brett, only because I remember renting King of the Ring '93 as a child.
Well, that's not really rating the figure, though, is it, Jamie?
So no, it brings back the memories. So the figure's so accurate that it brings back the memories. Was what I was alluding to. Yeah, the figure's so accurate that it does that for me.
Yeah, and it's Brett for me as well. It's hard to beat that one. As I said in the first episode, it surprised me how good it was when I took a good look at it.
Yeah, Brett as well for me. It could quite easily be a defining moments figure. It is the moment that everyone remembers from that pay-per-view as the coronation. So yeah, Brett for me.
Well done, Brett. You are the winner and through the final.
He'll be overjoyed with himself, won't he? Oh, Brett. Next up, we have Hunter Hearst Helmsley, who we mentioned a second ago, is up against Billy Gunn. So, Jono, you can vote first on these 2 bad boys.
Right, I'm going to vote then because of what we said earlier. You could use this as a WCW version, so I'm going with Triple H on this one.
Adam.
This one is so close. I'm having to really rack my brains even now. I'm thinking about it. I'm going to go with Billy Gunn because it was the exact attire he was wearing. The face is perfect. I just really like the figure. So Billy Gunn.
Ooh, deciding vote. It's very seldom this happens.
I'm going to go for Triple H. I'll go for Hunter.
Triple H makes it through to the final.
Reasoning behind it is, I think you for Triple H, for me, you look at that attire that the figure's wearing, and it brings back to that sort of later Hunter Hearst Helmsley run he had before he joined DX, that sort of era. Whereas Billy Gunn could cover many different Billy Gunn eras. So I think that's my reasoning behind it, was that that figure to me reminds me of the King of the Ring, Triple H.
It's a very good figure. I'll accept defeat.
Yeah, and look at that. What a royal final we have.
I've took his crown off because he's not the king just yet.
No.
He's got to earn that. No. Final set for next week. 2 weeks' time. Next episode.
Next episode in 2 weeks. We'll have a full-on coronation for one of those 2 lucky competitors. Right, so there we go. There's the final settled. So next up, we have our retro review. And next up, we have Retro Review, which is a unique segment that we like to mark and rate all of the retro series out of 10. So next up, we have Series 3. Sorry, not Season 3, John. I don't need to give me a slap on the wrist. Series 3 of the Mattel Retros. So in that segment, we have Bill Goldberg, we've got AJ Styles, Dean Ambrose, we've got Seth Rollins. Adam, you want to kick us off with AJ Styles first, alphabetical order then.
Yeah, we're going alphabetical order. I couldn't let you not go with that one. So, bit of context about these figures. They were very heavily reduced, especially in home bargains, to about a 5 or so. Very easy to get these ones, and they are amongst the cheapest ones possible. However, we're not going by value, so let's have a look at AJ. So, Jamie, I noticed you got them in front of you as well. What's your thoughts?
As you mentioned, they're heavily reduced, hence why I can buy them. I personally quite like AJ Styles. Facial-wise, looks more like Toadfish from Neighbours, if I'm honest. But I think action-wise, really good. Tattoo-wise, good. Costume-wise, good. I think it looks like a good figure. Personally, I'll kick off with the ratings. I'm going to give it a 6.4. Only thing that lets it down for me is the face and hair.
I just caught your rating. I've added that because I wasn't prepared just about. But I agree. The action is actually perfect. It does the phenomenal forearm perfectly. I don't think you could have improved that. I think the face is actually pretty good for a retro. I don't think it's too offensive. And the attire is acceptable. And it's even got the detail of his AJ tattoo on the stomach. I'm going pretty high with this one. It's probably the highest rating I've given. And I'm going for 8.1.
Oh,
wow.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking the phenomenal forearm, yeah, it definitely covers it. I was thinking, could they have got a better one for like the Styles Clash? And they probably could have gone with the one like that for the Styles Clash, but the forearm is much more prevalent, and to this figure especially. You've covered all the details of it. I do think it's got a bit of a generic face with a goatee stuck on. I don't think it's perfect, so I'll probably go 6.8 for this one.
Not bad. You did better than I thought. Next, we're going with Dean Ambrose. I suppose I can talk first about it. And what I thought was the action, I'm still a bit unsure, but it is playable. I guess it's going for the DDT. I forget what the name of it's called.
Dirty Deeds.
Dirty Deeds, or whatever the new version's called.
Paradigm Shift is the
Paradigm Shift. Again, it's one of those where it's the same sort of thing as the Triple H, where it's just this one's too wide and you can't grab it properly. But it's a good playable figure. You couldn't ask for more on the deco, I don't think. But I've always said the best retros are the ones with the basic attires. Ambrose exactly what he wore at the time. So I'm going to go with it. I think it's slightly better than AJ, 8.2.
Adam.
Yeah, you say it's the exact attire he wore at the time, and yeah, it is one version, but I do think they went for the easiest version rather than having any kind of t-shirt design on it, which probably suits a retro. Completely understand what you say about it being too wide to hook the Dirty Deeds, but again, the same way as I talked about the pedigree with Triple H, I think it's the kind of visual aspect of actually doing it. I still think that works. Facial wise, I think it's a really good face scan. It's a customizer's dream, that one. I know all the customizers were snapping that up from B&M. I was sending them out here, there and everywhere to customizers. I'd probably say I like the figure. There's nothing wrong with the figure. I do think it's quite simple. Probably a 6.7.
For me, yeah, I think you can tell which parts they've reused from previous season series. Because obviously the tank top wise, you can see the body through the tank top, which I don't really like. I know obviously there's no way around it, but it just doesn't overly fit. Bottom of the trousers, to me, it just, if you can see there's a line halfway down the leg. which I don't see the point in that. It's just very strange. Dirty deed side of things, I think it might be for the clothesline rather than the dirty deeds. Do you know the rebound clothesline that he does?
That's a good show, actually, yeah.
I think that's what I've taken it as, because you can't do a dirty deeds with this. I even tried on AJ Styles, and you just can't really book it in. So, yeah, I think overall, presentation-wise, it's not great. I think head-wise, it looks more like a Daniel Bedingfield figure than Dean.
I forgot to mention that I think I completely disagree with that. The head is spot on. I think it's one of the best retro heads we've come across so far.
Yeah, I think hair-wise, brilliant. I think face-wise, just give him a bit of a facial expression. When has he ever done that?
He's got quite a good glare on his eyes, I believe. So
What is it? I think, just some sort of grimace or something that Dean Ambrose, 90% of the pictures that you see him in, he's put in some form of grimace.
I like it. It's good scan.
I think, for me, overall, presentation-wise, it's not great. One thing I will say, I quite like the hand tape. The hand tape looks good.
That's unique.
Yeah, 5.2, Dean Ambrose.
Do you know what, Jamie? You say all these things and they're quite positive. Then your score just doesn't match anything that you've been seeing.
I was very negative about his appearance.
5.2
is very negative about his appearance. I think, the only thing that does it for me is the hand tape and the hair. Only two good things about his appearance.
So that warrants the score.
That warrants the score of 5.2 because it looks average. I could have bloody painted that, apart from the hair and the hand tape. 5.2, Dean.
Right, let's move on then. Adam, let's talk about Goldberg.
Yeah, that's the only one I've got from this line, or I got left. I've had them all, but the only one I've got left. Body, first of all, it's obviously made for the spear. That's the only reason for having the jumper motion on it. You can kind of imagine the jackhammer as well, him having somebody up here and then just turning with it. So you can get away with that. The body is decent. It's got the design on his trunks at the back. They haven't just gone for the plain black. They've gone for a little bit of white on the trunks. So they've made the effort there. It's got his tattoo, obviously, on the arm as well. Facially wise, expression good, face terrible. I think it looks a bit like Meng the Merciless rather than Goldberg. I think that just about covers everything that I had on it. My score on Goldberg, are we doing scores or are we saving that till you two have talked?
Go for it. Why not?
Treat yourself.
Score on that one will probably be 5.9.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said about that. I think if you're going for the spear, you could maybe make the arms go out a bit wider. But that's the mode they're going for. They're going for something that's a bit closer in. I never thought about the jackhammer. That's actually a good shout. You probably could hold someone up in a suplex motion there, so that's pretty cool. But you're right, the face is terrible. I don't like that. And it should have been a WCW version as a retro figure. So my score is 5.9 as well. Already wrote that.
I think face-wise, it's more like Gilberg, doesn't it, than Goldberg? That's what I'll say. But yeah, I think it's a very basic figure for accessories-wise. There's not much you can really do to a Goldberg unless you give him the straight black pants, which obviously they took away from him when he comes to WWE in 2003 due to clashing with Austin. So they gave him the half black, half white shorts, didn't they? Obviously, this is more based on the more recent run, hence the goatee. Yeah, overall, very standard figure. I'm going to go for a 5.6.
5.6, that's pretty accurate. I've actually just noticed something that I didn't notice when I first looked, in that it doesn't have gloves. Goldberg always wore gloves. So, an unprecedented move. I'm going to deduct a couple of points for that, and I'm going to change mine to 5.7.
Jeremy didn't even notice. So if you can't really picture, you never think about Goldberg wearing gloves, but yeah, he did. Fingerless ones or like MMA gloves.
So yeah, that's the first of me changing my mind after a score given.
I'll stick.
Final one. We've got another jumper. It's Seth Rollins. I'll talk you through this one. Action. I'm not a fan of. I know they're going for the stomp, but they should have had a 1 foot stomp, not a 2 foot stomp, akin to what the Series 3 Hasbro of Ultimate Warrior and Skinner, that sort of thing, or even the $1 Million Man from the Hasbro line would have been a good action.
Or IRS, as Adam just said. Yeah.
I've wrote the face is non-offensive, but I think the deco is a bit funny on mine. He's one eye is bigger than the other. I think the attire is good though. It's perfect for the time, and there's enough detail in it for the retro for me. I'm going with 6.3 for that one.
Adam?
Jamie?
I'll go next then. I'll go next. Yeah. So for me, I think the nose is too big for the face, if we're being honest. Have you ever?
Yeah, fair comment.
Got to look into that. Attire-wise, bottom half, perfectly fine. I think I would have liked some form of vest on the top half. I know you didn't wrestle in it, but I think I would have liked something just to have that on there. Just maybe a Seth Rollins sign. Could have improved it. Otherwise, it's just a very standard top half. Well, exactly the same as Goldberg's. So something to differentiate the top half with Goldberg's on there. But yeah, I think I don't get the action, as Jono was saying, because you can't cleanly land a stomp if you're playing with them as a child. I think I agree with having the stomp foot, the a la Ultimate Warrior IRS Skinner from the previous series would have worked a lot better. So for me, I think this is I'm going to stick with the middle fives again. I'm going to go 5.5.
I think this is a terrible figure. I disagree with what you said there, Jamie. I don't think he should have come with anything on the chest. I think as a retro, it kind of matches in with the rest of them. That it's in what he wrestled in this series especially. The move is just, there's nothing about it. You can't do the stomp. You can't do the knee. You can't do the buckle bomb. You can get away with the jumping motion for the sling blade, but that is literally it. The attire on the bottom half is the only thing that rescues this figure for me. I think facial wise, I don't agree with you two that it's average. I think it's rubbish facial wise. I think it looks more like Saxon Huxley from NXT UK. I don't like it at all. The only thing that redeems it is the attire on the lower half. So for me, it's a 4.1.
Ooh. Oh. I think there's a fair assessment, but I'm not sure the score was fair at the end. But yeah, you made some good points. And I took back what I said about the face being non-offensive, because it is quite offensive.
If I'm just offended with that face.
Yeah. So just before we leave that section, I did want to give an update, and that we got in the first round, we got 7 votes from the listeners, and I think my aim was to try and improve that every time. Last week, we've absolutely smashed it. We got 16 ratings from the listeners, so I want to thank each and every one of them for doing that. I just wanted to mention the scores from last time. We had Kane of 6.83, Mankind 6.91, Sting was a 6.3, Stone Cold 6.15, The Rock was 6.63, and Triple H was 6.21. So we've all of them scored in the sixes that average out. So average series, average scores.
Yeah, 6s all round, really, isn't it? It's,
who won that series? I didn't quite pick up on the whole point.
It was Mankind. Mankind got the top score from that. That was mainly because of us giving lower scores out, where the listeners were scoring it quite high for both Kane and Mankind. The listeners' average scores were like 8.6, 8.5 for both of those, where I was in the 6s or even 5s from Jamie for Kane.
Maybe, too harsh on them, maybe.
Possibly why I've been scoring a bit higher this round, because I've probably been a bit harsh on them. Yeah. But we will be putting up the league table. You'll see that in our Facebook feed.
Lovely stuff. So next up, we've got the Q&A. Hello, welcome back to our Q&A session, which has been recently renamed to the 3 Points of Interrogation. First of all, we're going to be putting the lamp on Adam, who's obviously answering the viewers' questions as to what they've put across to us and given the best things we can, our opinions on them. And remember, everyone at home, opinions are not facts. Adam, do you want to kick us off with your question this week, please?
This one's from Alan Logue. I think I asked a question from him before as well. So thank you again, Alan, for keep submitting them. Decent question. So if they were to make another series of defining moments, who or which moments would they be? So I'll pass that on to one of you. Who wants to take it?
Go ahead, Jamie. I'm still thinking.
I'll go with then. I think personally there's going to be, they always do a thing where they'll release the older ones, which look really good, as well as the newer ones, i.e. the most out of place figure ever of Shinsuke Nakamura in the series. So I think they're going to go for it again. I think it will be Kevin Owens is what I'd like to see in the NXT Women's debut. Was it Our Revolution? Or Revolution? Where he obviously won his match and then attacked Sami Zayn after it. I think that is a defining moment for Kevin Owens, which I'd like to see put into perspective in figure-wise. So I think if they are going to do that, that's what I want to see would be a Kevin Owens one from NXT.
Interesting one, quite a recent one. I've got a couple of moments in my head which for me are really defining moments. One of them is the NWO Hogan. I think would be an amazing defining moment, just purely because that is a moment that every fan in wrestling remembers. And the other one is just a personal one for me, which is the barbershop, something to do with the barbershop. I'm not sure it would be the most exciting defining moments, but for me, it's one of my personal favourite memories. So that would be who they should make for me. Anyone, Shawn Michaels or Marty?
Would it not have to be a 3-pack along with?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe they could make a tag one or even a 3-pack with Brutus involved as well. Or they could just release Marty and Shawn within a series kind of them.
Yeah, I would think it was more like an epic moments, like you did before with Milkamania, that sort of thing. That could work with that.
I think, if we're being honest though, what they will do is they'll release a barbershop wrecking arena. Is what they would do with a Shawn Michaels one. It's just hard to say, but I think that's probably what they would end up doing.
And just to push it a bit further on your Hulk Hogan one, what are you going for here? Would be the Bash at the Beach, or is it NWO?
That one went through my head. I was thinking, should it be the actual moment that he joined the NWO, or should it be in the NWO attire, like when he first came out for the interview the day after? I couldn't 100% decide in my head. I'm thinking it's got to be more NWO focused, so probably not the actual moment at Bash in the Beach, probably the earliest moment of NWO.
Fair comment. So I should have been a bit more prepared for this, but I have thought of something. And the fact that we were missing last time we recorded an Edge King of the Ring figure. So if we have, and Edge hasn't had a defining moments figure either, so it's perfect for that lineup. If you come with the glasses, the trench coat, and the King of the Ring trophy for certain, and maybe put a bit more bits of deco in that. Yes. So that would be my answer for a defining moment.
Another Edge figure in 2020.
Off the top of my head.
The other options that sort of run through my head, I think a Daniel Bryan one from WrestleMania 30 would do well, and as well as a Guerrero.
That's already been done, Jamie. I would say that you could say that's already been done with the WrestleMania series. It came with 2 belts and the attire he's wearing. So
yeah. For that as well as a Guerrero, but obviously they've just recently released on the Legends line. But yeah, Guerrero from No Way Out 04.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
Yeah, I'll stick my Owens shout on there.
Okay, shall we move on to my question? So this one came from Tony James, and the question is there a beginning of more parity between the US and UK markets now that Smiths have had The Undertaker undertaking pre-orders for the British Bulldog, both of which were meant to be US exclusives?
I'll kick off with this one. We sort of covered a bit of this earlier and was saying about, obviously they're just picking up the ones that are sort of the big sellers, should we say, the Taker and the Bulldog, which anyone that collects any form of wrestling figures are going to want to pick those up. So yeah, I think the clarity wise is looking good future and going forward, that in the UK we're going to get more releases like this, even though they are supposed to be Walmart exclusives and Target exclusives. We're picking them up at Smith's at a decent price. So I think going forward, I think we are looking at a good partnership between UK retailers and US ones as well. So yeah, I think that it's certainly moving that way.
Yeah, it is definitely. The answer is yes, because if they are supposed to be US exclusives and they're coming over to Smith's, then yes, there is. It's a great thing for me, for the UK market, that Smiths are even choosing to pick up any of them. I know I do agree with Jamie's point that it is the ones that are more likely to sell, but fair play to them. They're a big retailer. That's what they need. They do want the ones that are more likely to sell. But I have noticed as well on independent things, Wrestling Trader especially, for quite a while now, and moving on to the others. I've just picked up a Superstar Billy Graham and a Rocky Johnson from Big Pop Shop, and they're relatively decent-ish prices. They're not as good as they could be. They're not as good as Smith's, but they're not the rip-off prices that we were used to getting. So for those ones, I'm happy with the way that it's going.
Yeah, I'll add to that and say that every time that Mattel maybe do a Q&A and they get asked the question about US exclusives coming to the UK, their stance has always been the UK market, they are available to the UK market. But by which I've begun to realise that the UK market equals Smiths, because Toys and Masks are a pretty big retailer, and I know for a fact that they weren't able to order these ones in direct from Mattel anyway. Obviously, the Wrestling Trader, Wrestling HQ, etc., getting it from, I'm not sure, but that's the reason why they have to charge the prices they do on them, £30 plus. But that's what I'm taking from what they've been saying, is that they are available to the UK market, but only Smiths are able to buy these. They must have some sort of exclusivity if they want it.
So Wrestle HQ had released a statement last week to say they've got a new supplier, so they should be getting them around the same time as Ringside get them. Because I think a lot of the retailers pick them up from Ringside, get them shipped over here, which then causes a delay in time. But I think they've released a statement last week that said they've got a similar supply chain now to Ringside. So interesting to see going forward as to what they're going to produce and how quickly they can get the figures over. So watch this space. I'm sure we'll report on that as and when.
Yeah, well, I mean, more so I hope we get the Legends figures, whether that means that Smiths have to pick them up or not. Anyone, please get them. Let us get them for 20 quid each.
Yeah, I think we're sort of between a rock and a hard place. I think we can either have to wait 2-3 months to get them at 20 quid, and we're going to have to pay either double the money to get them as soon as, really. I think that's going to be the rock and the hard place that we're caught in between. But we'll have to see going forward, and fingers crossed, hope for the best.
Excellent. Good question.
My question is more of a wrestling base more than wrestling figures, but we can link them in the two. It's from Rich Kearney, and he said, if you could bring back any stable using current active superstars, who would be the stable and who would the members be? Adam, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, one of the most underrated groups as far as promos. I'm not saying they were the best set of wrestlers in the world, but as far as promos and it was just exciting and it was fun to watch, was the Dungeon of Doom in WCW. Now, this is definitely not a stable which is going to link to Raw and SmackDown. It wouldn't work. But NXT, it definitely could work with the type of promos and things that they did. Now, they could stick with a comedy gimmick. They could make it a little bit more serious. I think you've definitely got certain names which stick out. You've got the likes of Dexter Lumis, Cameron Grimes, Bronson Reed with a bit of a character change, maybe. You've got Indus Sher that aren't being used at all, that could easily fit in as the big men of that type of group, and Malcolm Bivens could be the microphone piece of that one. If you wanted to make it a bit more serious, you could bring in Karrion Kross when he comes back from injury if you want a main eventer, but it doesn't need to be a stable with a main eventer. It wasn't a stable with a main eventer in WCW apart from the odd giant bit in it. So yeah, Dungeon of Doom.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. It was quite left field, that one. So I'm going to go something that's more obvious. And the Four Horsemen's been going since the 80s, coming back now and again in WCW. It's never made its return since, but we are seeing a little hint of it. So I'm going to expand on what we've already seen. So Tully Blanchard has under his charge already the Revival, or the FTR as they're now known, and Sean Spears. So those would definitely be the first three in the new Four Horsemen for me. So now we need the fourth member. And we've seen that Kenny Omega's going towards the heel route and Adam Page is going towards the face route. But I think it would be good if they swerve us completely, have Adam Page turn heel on Omega or on any of the Elite, that sort of thing. And he becomes the de facto leader of that stable. So Adam Page, along with Sean Spears and FTR as the Four Horsemen.
Like it.
Stable heavy AEW already, isn't it? So I think, adding another one to the next. Why not? I enjoy it. Well, this is something that I thought about a couple of years back. When I thought they were actually going to go on this route was the Evolution route. It was when Triple H helped Kevin Owens win the Universal title. And I thought, oh, they're going to Triple H in the Ric Flair role, Kevin Owens in the Triple H role. And then I thought maybe have Samoa Joe in there as like a Batista role and then have Pete Dunne in there as well because they're all through NXT and that could be the Evolution that they had on the go. That was my original thinking back then. Obviously, it would have changed now and maybe have it as current NXT superstars with Triple H still in the Ric Flair role, to having it as Gargano, Ciampa, and then having someone in there from NXT UK who's quite a big name, probably still Pete Dunne. So that was my original sort of thinking of having an NXT Evolution basically coming through to the main roster. But it looks like now they're gone for their separate brand. So that was my thinking behind a stable.
I think you've got a good point with Evolution, certainly with Triple H and the Flair role. I just feel like you may have miscast the other roles. I think you needed.
I'm talking 3 years ago. I was thinking this.
Yeah, well, I'm on about with the one you said with
the Gargano and the Ciampa.
I think you would need a much more established start than two up and comers.
Or even a woman. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if they put a woman wrestler in there as well, especially with the women's evolution, should we say.
I could actually see Karrion Kross joining that group as well, because he is quite, he is suited and booted quite a lot. He's quite eloquent on the mic. He's quite an intelligent man as well. He doesn't have to be the kind of monster gimmick as they've trained him at the moment. I think he'd be quite a good choice.
He could be the Batista of the group, possibly.
But yeah, I think having an NXT stable coming up to the WWE, to the main roster, should we say, with Triple H as their leader, I think would certainly go down well, and fill a hole that we thought Retribution were going to fill, but sadly not. No. Who do you guys see? If you was to put an Evolution in place right now, if someone said, right, tomorrow on Raw, there's going to be an Evolution from NXT with Triple H in the Ric Flair role. Obviously, Adam's gone with Karrion Kross. Who would you put as the other stable members?
If I'm honest, I couldn't really knock off the NXT roster in my head, but Karrion Kross is a good one as the Batista role. Help me out.
And Keith Lee, technically. I mean, they've recently come up from NXT, which could work. I mean, apart from that, obviously NXT-wise, it's quite a big roster. Reel them off for you, but
yeah, too hard to do off the top of my head, that one.
Yeah, we need a proper guy who's in the Triple H role. I think you could only really, if you're going to go from NXT, the only person that would fit that as being a top guy is Finn Balor.
Balor,
kind of with them being champion as well.
Yeah. I mean, even if you wanted to pull from Retribution, I mean, Dominic Dijakovic is a big dude as well. I don't mind Dijakovic's work. He's friends with Keith Lee. So, I mean, a stable with Karrion Kross, Keith Lee, and Dijakovic with Triple H as their leader, I mean, that would be a good stable.
Yeah, but just completely will ruin any current storyline. Couldn't just do that tomorrow on Raw.
Would it surprise you if they did, though, with the current thing that they're putting
Not
out?
at all.
Good
point.
But yeah, I think, well, back to the subject. I'm surprised we haven't had an Evolution 4-pack yet, on Mattel form anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, whilst we're here, might as well extra question from me. If you had to have a stable pack that they've been released, a la the Heenan family, a la the Four Horsemen, what stable pack would you like to see?
Wow, what a question to put on the spot.
I know,
Cheers
it's
for that.
right on the spot. I've only just thought of it myself. So I mean, I'll kick us off. I'd quite like to see the $1 Million Family in a $1 million stable.
Well, I was going to say that actually. I didn't say it when we talked about the new Legend series. They could have quite easily made Volkov, Tatanka, $1 Million Man in that as part of that family.
Good shout. I would go a different way, and I think there's something that they're missing, but it's obviously a budget thing and trying to do complete Survivor Series teams from the past. If I was going to choose one, it would be the $1 Million team from 1989. So we'll have a re-release of $1 Million Man, unfortunately, but otherwise accompanying him would be Zeus and the Powers of Pain, which we've not seen in Elite.
Well, seeing as you've stolen my Survivor Series one that I was just about to say, Jono, that I'd quite like to see some of those teams. I think as a togetherness pack, I know they've been released individually, but it would be Heart Foundation for me as a together pack, including like your wheelchair and things like that with Brett.
Yeah, that's perfect. Good idea.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I see Survivor Series packs would work perfectly. I think at the moment they're releasing the single series ones, which are a bit annoying because they come with the t-shirts and so on, and the chair, which I know that you're all a fan of. But yeah, I think just having one definite team. One that springs to mind. Did I recall this? Was it Warrior, Texas Tornado, Legion of Doom?
That's right. Yeah.
I mean that there is a dream 4-pack, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an awesome team, really, isn't it? That's a good team.
Yeah. So I think that to me is an awesome 4-pack, and that's one that I'd like to see.
Could have the 20-man pack from the 1989 one, was it? With the 5 tags against 5 tags. That'd be a good one.
Oh God, imagine it. I think we're going off the rails a bit here with our fantasy booking.
Yeah. Well, we'll cover it a different time, I'm sure. But that is everything that we have in store for you this week on the 3 Points of Articulation. I have been Jamie Big Tasty Wills. We have been joined by Adam the Wrestling Man and Jono Fenton.
I've had a phenomenal time, thanks.
Lovely. Right, we'll see you guys next time. All the best.